Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here.
While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign.
This time around, I predict that many more Americans is out. Kenya has announced its digital nomad visa. It will be among the fourth in Africa after South Africa, Namibia, and Mauritius. What I predict for Black Americans, for people of African descent in the United States of America, I predict more Blaxiting.
Beauty is universal. Black American human rights lawyer, now lives in Nairobi. Shout out to you, my sister. She's been here about 7 good years. So obviously she's got a story to tell. She's got good knowledge of Nairobi. Is Donald J. Trump as president a problem?
Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Is it causing you guys to leave the country? Blaxit. And should Nairobi be a place that you should consider as home? This is Afrocentric. Let's get on with it, man.
So I woke up and I saw that Trump was in the lead, and too far in the lead, depending on where you stand. And I said, I just need to ground myself. I need to ground myself in nature. And I went over to the Nairobi Arboretum and I saw other people strolling around the Arboretum in a daze. And I got the sense that people were just like me, like, let me just ground myself in something solid. Then I began to move around my neighborhood, which is Kilimani, in the afternoon. And it's a Friday in the city, and it's not a lot of people out. That was interesting. And it just seemed like there was this somber mood over my neighborhood. I can't speak on the whole city because I did not move outside my neighborhood that day, but it just really, it was quiet. And it just seemed very, very somber. And then folks is worried about their family in the U.S. Will they be impacted by the racial backlash of MAGA Trump supporters?
Is Trump good for America? MAGA fans obviously are very happy with their president. My sister here was disappointed that Kamala Harris lost.
Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here.
Kenyans were very focused on that election, and there's a very good reason for that. Number one being that the United States appears to have been schmoozing too closely with the administration in Kenya. And that hasn't worked very well for the Kenyan population. In the last election that we had, there was a major dispute, and the president only was determined as president after a court process. So to see the US government, through its American ambassador, suggest that that election was free and fair is a slap on Kenyans' face. So they have never been happy about that. So Kamala Harris winning would have been an extension of Joe Biden's presidency. Joe Biden's policy towards Nairobi, which has not been welcome. He has been seen to be working too closely with a president that has increasingly become very unpopular to the Kenyan population. He had a bit of goodwill when he became president. But over time, that goodwill has been eroded based on some of the things that have happened in the country, including clamping down on political voices that do not agree with him. We have seen abductions in the streets of Nairobi. And those are the realities that make Kenyans very unhappy with this president.
I do have some predictions. Trump's first term, when he was running, some Americans were threatening to leave the U.S. If this man gets elected, I will leave the U.S. Very few of y'all did. Although thousands of Americans did as a result of political dissatisfaction, most of y'all stayed. This time around, I predict that many more Americans is out. There were people that voted Democrat because they were voting the lesser of two evils. There were independents, there were Green Party that didn't vote, that did vote for the lesser of two evils. There were even people that voted for Trump that were unhappy with where their votes were going, but they decided to vote what they thought were the lesser of two evils. I predict that there will be more Americans seeking to live abroad. Already as it is, it's hard as hell for Americans to land a completely remote position. Those positions are in high demand. What I predict for Black Americans, for people of African descent in the United States of America, I predict more Blaxiting. And as someone who has lived in East Africa for going on 7 years now, I want to tell you, you are welcome. Karibu, which means you are welcome in Kiswahili.
Welcome to Africa!
So good people, is a Trump presidency bound to push you as a black American out of the States?
I am the chosen one.
Do you believe that's likely to happen, or is it happening already? My sister here has been living in Nairobi about 7 years, so obviously she's sharing thoughts based on her own experience, and to have lived here for a good 7 years does speak something that obviously it's working for her. Africa is not for everyone, but for those who would want to reconnect the continent, or are also just looking to move away from the racial macro and microaggression that she's referring to,
License and registration, please.
then you may consider a place like this, because Nairobi is quite cosmopolitan with experts from across the world. This could possibly be home. The likelihood of doing remote jobs is increasingly there. You can secure your children on the continent of Africa, raise them in a space that is safer, that keeps them away from the tensions in the Western culture. And for those who are born out there and raised here, growing into adulthood, the possibility of moving back and forth to the Western capitals and back here, this new home, and having that hybrid of a life, I would want to believe is very advantageous, because you truly become a global citizen. These are kids who can fit anywhere with a great appreciation for life and its diversity, culture and the diversities that you have there.
I'm really excited. I've never been. It's my first time in Africa, so this is all a really new experience for me.
And a place where a vast majority of the population look just like you, look just like me, chocolate brown, where you do not have to keep proving yourself, where you're not judged all the time. So if you are looking to come to Africa, if you're considering Nairobi, you're considering Cape Town, Joburg, you're considering Accra, Ghana, Nigeria, all these places, then you need to create linkages with those on the continent. My sister here has already lived around for long enough to be able to advise. I'm aware of other couples or individuals or families that have moved here and have found a life. I'll give you a good example, like Ashley in Africa. She lives in South Africa, and I'll share her link at the bottom here. That would be somebody to consider. There's another sister who's lived in Namibia 1.5 decades, married there, she's raised a family there, and she's got a social platform as well and a web page that can link you to opportunities. I will share that as well. If you come to Nairobi, you've got the residential tourists. I have watched their journey from when they moved to Kigali, Rwanda, then to Nairobi. They've been here on the continent for, I believe, about 3 years. And Adila has now created the Adila Relocation Services. Check that out also in the comments below. So there is a sizable population of the black family out there moving onto the continent, increasingly creating networks, creating opportunity, making it possible for those who are out there to come to the continent and find people that they can relate to, whose experiences are similar to theirs, similar to yours. So I think guys should take advantage of that. There's opportunity, there's great culture here, there's great food and cuisine, there's a growing community of techies, of experts, black folk, you name it. Not to be utopian about it, it has its own sets of challenges, but keep an open mind, visit, get boots on the ground, then make your move. So subscribe and like so that we can keep you in the loop and keep sharing information that can help you connect. And we will definitely keep you posted. If there's anything specific that you'd want maybe researched for you about Nairobi, about Kenya, about the region, we are more than happy to do that. I have worked as a producer here. There's definitely knowledge and skill to help you navigate Nairobi, navigate the region. So take advantage of it. More than happy, honestly, more than happy. And for some of us, the little contribution we can make, fully aware of what's happened to our family 300, 400, 500 years ago, forcefully ejected from here. This is our own small way of making your return a reality, making you connect with the motherland a reality. It's not too much for us. It's with great pleasure, and it comes from a place of love. So I want to thank you for your time. Again, subscribe, like, stay in the loop. This is definitely Afrocentric. We keep it Kenyan, we keep it African, we keep it Black diaspora. Please check out the remainder of the stories that you got either here or here. There's a lot more that we've produced. I hope it makes sense to you. If it resonates, you know the deal. So we'll see you again. And many thanks. And happy holidays. Bye-bye.